Hello, welcome back to my channel, Appealing Book Reviews, and today I will be doing a part 3 to A Song for You, My Life with Whitney Houston by Robert Crawford. Now I will go back to chapter 6, Nobody Loves You Like I Do. I'm going to go back and talk a little about that. Robyn was talking about in her book how Clive introduced Whitney as his new discovery on the Merv Griffin show. And she also talks about how she stayed up in their living room because her and Whitney, they were living together in an apartment. And she talks about how she stayed up that night to see Whitney perform on the Merv Griffin show. And this was like Whitney's introduction to the world, and also left things open for Whitney. After she performed on the Merv Griffin show, Jermaine Jackson wanted to record with Whitney Houston, and they recorded Nobody Loves You Like I Do and If You Say Your Eyes Are Beautiful. And another song they recorded together, a total of 3 songs that her and Jermaine Jackson performed together. She not only talks about Whitney and things that were going on with Whitney, but she also talks about her family, and she talks about Marty, how Marty, he had joined the Army, and he was like a bomb loader, and she said he had got into an accident, and she was talking more about her family in Nobody Loves You Like I Do in chapter 6. She was talking about that, and she also talks about a time when her and Whitney went to go visit her brother for his 26th birthday, and then that's when they found the cat, Misty Blue, how they found that cat in the book, and how she also talks about how her brother gave them nickname Nippy and Nappy, both of them nicknames, and they kind of spent the time with him while he was in the Army for his birthdays, and they met his fellow airmans, her and Whitney. And also she talks about how Marty had a cat that he was feeding, and the cat name was Misty. And so I guess that's how they got the cat, her and Whitney. And he said her brother had been feeding the cat milk, and said Whitney stayed up all night with the cat, and that's how I guess she asked him for the cat. And then when they brought the cat home, how Misty was loaded with fleas, because she said they had left the blanket on the airplane or something like that. Yeah, on the airplane. And they brought the cat in the home with them to their apartment, and it was full of fleas and different things like that, and it had spread it throughout their wallpaper, carpeted, and black spots and different stuff like that. She also talks about how Whitney had to fly to Los Angeles to start recording with Jermaine Jackson, and how Whitney would be gone for weeks, and she would always talk about, she was kind of like pulling away from her a little in her conversations. I guess she was excited about working with Jermaine Jackson, she would even talk about him, how she felt like Jermaine had a better sounding voice than Michael. And her 3 songs that she did with him was the third song is Don't Look Any Further. And she also talks about how Jermaine's voice matched Nippy on Don't Look Any Further with that song. But it's like Whitney was moving towards closer to Jermaine, I guess, and excited about working with him, but that she was kind of moving a little distance, and the only person that was there to like keep her company was the cat. She also talks about how her and Whitney drove to a meeting. In the meeting department, they was talking about the agenda of everything, and she was pulled aside because they said that Jermaine didn't want Whitney to ride his coattail, and she was saying, ain't he dreaming, she brought, to herself. that, why would Whitney be riding his coattail? She also talks about Jermaine and Whitney's relationship, how it hurt her, and how he would call. And she said how he had like a little low, soft voice when he called for Whitney. And she was talking about like how she had messed up the apartment. Then she said, now clean it up. But like she knew something was going on with Whitney and Jermaine. But Jermaine was also married, so you know how that went. It wasn't going to work out anyway. But she was saying the backstory that Jermaine was unhappy with Hazel. But you know how that goes. There's always two sides to every story. So I feel like that wasn't going to work anyway with reading this and him being married. So going back to chapter 11, Tell on Your Damn Self. She admits that Whitney was a little strange, but she's also very, very private person and very quiet. When she was in the mood to talk, there was no stopping her. But she was very quiet, and sometimes she would hear Whitney talking, and she would ask her like who she was talking to, and she would say she would be talking to Jesus. Who you think? Whitney would say, who you think? She was talking to Jesus. So they spent a lot of times together, her and Robyn. She also talks about Whitney usually snacks. The snack that she usually would get like was a bowl of cereal, and how she wasn't a morning person, especially if she like worked all night. She wasn't a morning person. And she also talks about like how Whitney was like a homebody. She enjoyed swimming in the pool, like television, playing with Misty Blue, that cat, and listening to music and dressing up and different things like that in their pajamas and stuff like that. Also, how the music, when she would play her music, that would make her, come alive. She was talking about how her and Sylvia, like some of her like playlists was like Stevie Wonder, Shaka Khan, Fred Hamilton, Andre Crouch, BB and CeCe Winans, Renee and Angela, El DeBarge, just to name a few. But that's when she came alive, when she listened to her music. And she also talks about how their cooking skills did not improve, so they would, in order for them to get like a healthy meal, they hired a chef, and she got the okay from Whitney to hire a chef, so that's for them to be able to have healthy meals to eat. They hired Auntie Bay to be her Aunt Bay to be the chef, but she only would allow Sylvia to bring her tray of food to her. Even when she was on the road, she would have Sylvia bring her tray with her prepared meal to her bedroom. She only allowed Sylvia to do that for her. Going back into introducing Whitney Houston, she talks about Robyn also talks about how they met Sylvia, how she got the ball rolling with Nip manager, who recommends someone for their assistant, and how she went to their house. Robyn went to their house to meet Sylvia, and she was like 23 years old. She was like 5 feet tall with brown eyes and medium built with long brown hair. And Sylvia was born in El Salvador and came to the United States with her family at 17 to speaking no English upon arrival, and how she enrolled in Fort Lee High School and attended at night so she could catch up on her 11th grade classes. She had her daughter too. So I went back, so I'll go back and forth with this. Like if it's something that I missed, like now I realize that I know that I'm gonna have to do like a part 4 and maybe a part 5 to wrap this book up, because I really want to make sure that I get all the information about the book. So that's like, if I miss something, like I said before, I will just go back and go back up in the chapters. But we was in the 11th chapter. Okay, back to the 11th chapter, Tell on Your Damn Self. One evening, Whitney and I was visiting Mike and his wife Donna, and the four of them were doing coke. And it was getting late, and she knew that Whitney had to work the next morning, so I kept asking her to pack it up, that she didn't want to listen. So I was prepared to leave and take the car, but it wasn't a good idea. So Robyn was kind of desperate to go, because she knew Whitney had to work the next day. And she called Sylvia to come. As she was walking towards the car to open the car, Whitney started yelling, "Who the fuck do you think you work for? I pay you." And she said Michael and Donna was standing in the window. And Whitney said, "Oh, you a shuffle now? I pay you a shuffle now." And then Robyn, she said, "Take Robyn home. Take Robyn ass home before I kill her." And that's when she told the driver to pull off, because Whitney don't know what she's saying because of the drugs. So that was one of the incidents that happened on Tell on Your Damn Self. So, I will stop it right here. I thought I could wrap it all up in this part 3, but it's going to take a little longer. And I'm going to make sure I get everything, to get mostly of the key points of everything that's going on in the book, because it is a 24 chapter book. So I will be back with the part 4, and maybe it probably will be, I will try to wrap it up in 4, but I think no longer than maybe like 5 or 6 the most, if I have to do any more parts to it. But I will be back. And thanks you guys for watching. This is a thick book, and this is how I'll do my books. If I'm going through it, I will do it and break it down in parts. My next book will be, the name of it is Preparing for a Disaster. And it's just talking about like different things to help you to prepare for different stuff. And I'm going to prepare with you guys. So just stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good day.